Hello and welcome to Fresh Face Comics, the comic book podcast for a lifelong comic book reader. Guys, it's the world of comics for the first time! Yes! My name is Joey Morgan, the aforementioned lifelong reader. With me as always is Jacob Licklider, the aforementioned newbie.
This episode's not gonna get political or dicey at all, guys!
Not at all. But not at all. Not at all. But Jacob, I'm so happy. I'll put it at the end of the episode. I tried like 5 different fucking times to get that intro right, and I fucking couldn't. That is why I was so happy there.
I was about to launch into the intro, and you just stole it right from under me as my mouth was literally opening.
But I fucking got it. Today we're talking...
Yeah, but more importantly, trying to vamp just a little bit to give us maybe a whole minute or so, and just to avoid certain flags.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we can. Today we are talking about a comic book,
a legendary post-crisis comic run by John Ostrander and Kim Yale. The beginning of Kim Yale's work on the book, with art by
Luke McDonnell, Bob Lewis, Carl Kessel.
Yes. A lot of great people. All right, and it's been a little bit of time. We are talking about the third volume of John Ostrander's Suicide Squad run. This is Rogues. This is the first of 2 episodes on volumes 3, and then next episode will be volume 4 of Suicide Squad, where we will once again probably have to try to vamp for a minute to try to just try to avoid.
It's gonna happen. It's just gonna happen. We gotta be fine with that. We gotta be okay with that. But yeah, Rogues. This is our 3rd volume of Suicide Squad. It's been a while since we've read the book. But
a very long time.
Very long time. But Jacob, go ahead and tell me, what is Suicide Squad Rogues about? Non-spoilers, of course.
Non-spoilers. So here's the thing. So I'd argue the first two volumes largely have story arcs, whereas this one really starts out with some nice sort of like one-off issues. I mean, it's 2 arcs mainly. Well, maybe 3. It's hard to tell. They
do kind of like blend into each other.
They blend into each other. This is where Ostrander actually gets to close some loops on things he has set up since the very beginning in brilliantly dark way and a almost prescient way of things that are happening. If I had to describe this volume in one phrase, it might be Amanda Waller kind of gets her comeuppance. Like,
oh yeah,
the work on it with Amanda Waller on this volume might be my favorite aspect of the volume, but that's actually kind of hard to say because
there's so many good things in this volume.
Oh, there's so many great things.
Yeah.
I think the volume starts potentially weaker. Now, you also mentioned that could be because we haven't read this book in such a long time, which is
specifically like the first like 2 or 3 issues, which are specifically calling back to like the very first Suicide Squad arc.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't love that the villains of that arc and that they reappear here anyway. Like,
they're unfortunately villains that Ostrander firmly believes in. He really, really likes them.
I mean, I can see why. This volume basically published all late 1988, early 1989. Mm-hmm. So like I get it politically what's happening in the world. We have a lot of situations.
What's especially interesting though is when Ostrander comes back to the book when like it's rebooted for like the 3rd time. Still like early 2000s, but pre New 52. He uses them as like the focal point of his main arc that he does in that, and it's like that's especially interesting. Like in the time that was published in.
I mean, let's be honest. The United States has been fucking over the Middle East for a very long time.
Yeah. So
and John Ostrander is kind of aware of it. John Ostrander, in a lot of ways, is the best kind of angry old man.
Wonderful man. Also with this volume, you did mention it already. You mentioned the person already, but we get a bit of a creative team shift towards the end of this volume.
Yes.
In the form of Kim Yale helping Ostrander on the book. Kim Yale being Ostrander's wife, who I won't say too much because you don't really get too much of her influence in the issues presented here.
I think there's even an issue like it might be the last one where she's not even credited as a writer.
Yeah. She was on and off when she first joined the book, but there comes a point, I want to say by like volume 5, when like she's just consistently there throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine because I imagine he wanted help because after this, I know we're launching into a 4-book crossover. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's mostly a 2-book crossover with Ostrander being the writer on both Squad and Checkmate at the time. But specifically after that is where he also got some more of that help because of a certain character that they were going to start dealing with that Kim Yale had a lot of very strong opinions on. We'll have to talk about it much more later. Not even
this is the wait is
it is the character. Here's the thing. I won't say who it is because we're in non-spoilers, but I can't say who it is we're talking about.
It's for that character that I'm thinking of who has a cameo here.
Yes, Kim Yale is like the unsung hero of that character and basically made that character who they are.
Okay.
So we have to talk more about her later. She's a wonderful writer.
I hope. Here's the thing. Now that you said that, you need to try to bring up volume 5 in the schedule a little bit, so we're not waiting like such a long time. Because that's that is a fascinating implication.
Yeah, you'll see. She's wonderful.
And, I'm curious for our listeners who aren't big comic fans if they know the character we're talking about.
Yeah. It's kind of. It's still kind of a shock to a lot of people, I think. I know back when I was first collecting Squad, because here's the thing. I got back into Suicide Squad back when I was picking up random back issues in my comic shop, but way back when I first started collecting comics even. And there just came a point in my Squad collecting where I was like, why is this one so expensive? And my comic shop guy was like, oh, it's the first appearance of this character. And I was like, wait, fucking really? And it was just, there are so many people that still don't know about this. So of course we can't talk about it much here. That's for spoilers, and of course, mostly more for future volumes.
I mean, when we get to it in the actual spoiler section, I have opinions. And they are fascinating.
Anyway, let's talk some Blue Sky questions. Let's go over to Blue Sky.
Yes!
If you don't know, we have mixed Twitter questions. We are now on Blue Sky, so go over to Blue Sky, follow us there. I am at jomobloodonut.bluesky.social, and you are at newt5996.bluesky.social. They will also be in our link trees, which are always in the description. You can follow us there and follow us anywhere, basically, that we still want you to follow us on. So there's all that. Over on Blue Sky, we have questions today from, let's go with our good friend Rose Panda at Joey Can Read This. Bluesky.social says, hey, at Kian the Quark, mind if I rip you off? Suicide Squad with a gif of the Muppets, which Kian
specifically Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. No. Before we get to Kian's response, the answer is yes.
The answer is
yes. This bit I approve of because it breaks from the norm.
That is true. And also, I'm now imagining Suicide Squad Muppets, and I would love to see that. I imagine a Muppets special Suicide Squad, if they were ever able to do such a thing, where Rick Flag is the one human character, and everyone else is Muppets.
I would imagine Waller as the human, as like the one.
Waller is, but Waller wouldn't be able to like interact with them as much as Rick Flag would be able to. So, and Waller could still be human as well.
Here's the thing. I feel like the character of Amanda Waller interacting with Miss Piggy would be fascinating.
That would be great. And
that would be an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object.
Yes, exactly. Kia does rightfully point out, though, that the bit is more so that you associate these comic book characters with Doctor Who characters, but I appreciate the bit nonetheless because I like talking about Muppets. So Kian himself also says, what is this? Some kind of Suicide Squad episode? Which I feel like I think it's every Squad episode we've done, right? Where we had someone make that joke.
Someone has done that. I don't remember if it was Kian the last time, though.
No, I think it's been a different person each time. I want to say it was Mason one time, and I think it was Jamie one time. So I think it's been a different person every single time.
Of course it has. Of course it has.
That would be our listeners. Lastly, we have a set of questions from our friend Mason at the GD256.bluesky.social. Says, one, if you had to join the squad, what would make you? What would you make your power be? I don't know.
I'd probably just
that would imply. Here's the thing: the implication there is really that you would have something to offer the squad in the first place, and I just don't think I have that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is also just that, like, I know it's probably because I know Mason's probably biggest like foray into Suicide Squad is maybe the film adaptations.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he's seen the films. I don't remember. I think he's seen at least the 2016 film,
Mm-hmm.
which
If not, watch the 2021 film as well.
Yeah, the 2021 film is actually good.
And you know what? I will put in a case for this. Everyone should watch Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay. It's an animated film, part of that New 52 continuity they did, and it's actually just a really good Suicide Squad film. We should watch that. We should watch that for the next episode, Jake.
I will mark that down.
It's very good. I like it a lot. The only Suicide Squad adaptation in film, at least, to actually use Bronze Tiger.
Yeah, because the films, the live action films, obviously didn't.
They don't use Bronze Tiger. It's so weird. A huge part of the squad, obviously.
Besides the point, I was going to bring up the Suicide Squad isn't all supervillains. Like,
mm-hmm.
like it's a fair mix of just non-powered people and powered people. Like,
yeah, and also, like, not necessarily all villains either.
No, like you have Bronze Tiger.
I mean, of course, the appeal is villains, but also, like, if you didn't have like moral anchors like Bronze Tiger, or we're talking about this volume, I guess I would normally say Rick Flag, I suppose. But
I mean, I'd also say Rick Flag.
We're talking about this volume right now, so
I'd say Rick Flag still counts.
Still fascinating. God, can we talk about
as a moral anchor? Moral anchors don't necessarily need to be paragons of morality. You can have complexity in your moral anchors.
Yeah. Mason's second question says, is the helicopter, remember? What is their backstory? Referring, of course, to the helicopter on the cover of this volume. I don't know, I guess. Is that the same type of helicopter that they use in the Suicide Squad movies? It might be. I'm assuming it is. I guess. I don't know. That's the backstory, is that they used it in the movies.
I was going to say it's just the backstory is it's just their lacking of Ronald Reagan.
That works too. Mason says, 3. Which Suicide Squad movie does this comic more match the tone of? That's really interesting. It's not edgy enough to be 2016, and it's not. I think it's a little too politically savvy to be the 2021 film.
I think the 2021 film is a little politically savvy, more than you.
Yeah, no. I agree, but not in the same way that this book does political intrigue.
If I had to say, I'd probably say the 2021 film.
Yeah, I guess so.
It thematically hits the ideas of the purpose of the squad.
Actually, I guess if you're looking for certain things, I guess certain similarities. There's a lot of like poking holes in Amanda Waller as a character throughout both, which you don't really do in the 2016 film. There's a bit more of that in the 2021 film. That's about it, though. I would say, if anything, maybe this has more in common with like the Peacemaker show. I know you haven't seen that, but also you should fucking watch that because it's so good. But yeah, I don't know, maybe that. Fourth question, what do you think of Jared Leto's Joker?
I don't like Jared Leto's Joker. I have the
launch into a Dr. Seuss thing. I do not like Jared Leto's Joker.
I don't. I was gonna say probably the worst live action Joker. That I've seen. Asterisk.
I
was gonna say there could be a live action Joker I have not seen that is worse, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I have such mixed opinions on him because I think it's one of those things where like it's one of those things where I don't feel like I can truly properly judge the performance, because I know for a fact I haven't seen what they actually intended to put on screen. That film went through an editing room hellscape, and I don't envy that. I like his appearance in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I like that. I like
it's certainly more tolerable than his appearance in Suicide Squad 2016.
I like his appearance in Justice League. Suicide Squad, I think there are some moments where he kind of nails it, but they're very few and far between. Not a big fan. But last question. Give me one word to describe this comic.
Political.
Politics. Most definitely. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's the one.
This thing, it does some stuff, and it's a whole thing. It's a lot of things.
I think we should talk about those things.
Yeah, we got to talk about those things.
Jumping into spoilers. Considering this your official spoiler warning, if you're not sticking around with us for spoilers, you can jump to the description below and buy the books on Amazon. You can buy the book we're covering today and the book we're covering next time. If you don't know what we're covering next time, we are covering our next volume of Suicide Squad with Suicide Squad: The Janus Directive. It is a crossover event. It'll be volume 4 of Suicide Squad. Very excited about that. As always, our link trees will also be in the description below. You can follow us wherever you want to follow us. Mostly Blue Sky, if you can, that'd be awesome. Be able to look up for Q&As over there, and I guess if you're dropping out here for spoilers, you can leave us a rating, subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening to us on, leave a rating, comment on Spotify. Apparently that's the thing you can do, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Blood Donut Studios. And with that said, I think we shall jump into a spoiler now.
Yes,
with this Suicide Squad number 17. So, first off, I love the cover of this one. It's just such a cool idea for a cover. The cutting down the middle and seeing like the page underneath it. It's very cool. I really, really love that. It's just another issue that I have, and I always loved the cover of this one. The cover also promises the Jihad is back, and the Suicide Squad is going to
something.
Love that. I love that because it gets cut off by the cutting in the middle. It's fun. But yeah, the Jihad is back, which are the bad guys from the very first Suicide Squad arc that Ostrander did, and here's the thing, it is a choice, not a bad choice, really.
Certainly it's an interesting choice. I think. Okay, so the Jihad are definitely born out of the American situation in the Middle East in the late 80s. In the late 80s, like that is what Ostrander is doing. Ostrander is clearly angered, for good reason, at the Reagan administration, and how it's handling the Middle East for oil, mainly for oil and ill-gotten gains. However, I don't think Ostrander kind of struggles to give a lot of these villains, and there are a lot of them, any personality. I mean, there's some personality. Anything
in the form of actually a new one that's added to the group here, and that is this I guess I wouldn't really call it mind control, but the first one we actually sort of focus on here is a woman that can seem to incite rage in people. Everyday people just begin like fighting with each other, and she's sort of standing in the middle of it all, causing this chaos. Interesting stuff, and sort of a great little opening to show that this reign of terror beginning. Also see another member. I'm also blanking on some Jihad names right now because again, it's been a long time since I read that arc. But yeah, we have another one like starting like a fire here.
It's Ifrit starting a fire. It's this entire issue is the Jihad slowly invading Manhattan. Like that is what this issue is. Like it's what the first like 13 or 14 page, like Yeah, no, the first 15 pages
it's most of the issue is showing this chaos and showing how the jihad is sort of beginning to take over the city, because and a lot of it is like very light on dialogue. It is just action pieces to show this chaos. It really works. It's very effective, very minimalist, but also
it's very much playing on fears of the time of a terrorist attack in New York.
Mm-hmm. That Ostrander wrote in the late fucking 80s. Absolutely insane.
I just don't care about the jihad. That's the problem.
That's fine. Well, that's fine. Okay, well, can you care about this? Perhaps Rustum we have here is contacting Mindboggler, who is still around. Speaking of the very first Suicide Squad arc that Ostrander did, Mindboggler is, or sorry, Ifrit, in the form of Mindboggler. I apologize. But like looks that like that exact same character that Boomerang left to die back in the first couple issues. So that's Ostrander setting up.
It's
things.
A great actions. It's a great actions have consequences. However, again, I just do not care about the jihad. I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's okay. That's fine. They're not the most exciting villains. But you know, Ostrander has. They're more Ostrander making a political statement than they are actually interesting characters. So,
which is funny because he's as these issues go on, he's going to start making some big political statements, some big, very bold and political statements that, let's just say, we are going to have to be very careful with our words on how we describe them.
Jacob, there is nothing even remotely potentially controversial in this entire thing.
No, not at all.
Nothing's gonna happen. It's fine.
Stop
worrying. Stop worrying. We catch up with our squad here, with Shade, Rick Flag, and Captain Cold, who's still kind of hanging around with the squad here.
Hanging around, and then he just kind of disappears after this little arc.
He does.
Probably because it's like we need you in the Flash book because Wally is now the Flash.
Has been the Flash for a while at the time.
He's been the Flash for a couple of years now.
4 years, yeah. Anyway, Amanda contacts Rick Flag, tells him to get the squad together to go after the jihad. I like
the jihad specifically is like, we want basically all of criminals of Karak who were tried in absentia and found guilty and have taken refuge in America are sent over for summary execution, which is certainly a political. Again, it's certainly a political statement. We get Rick Flag starting to have some tensions with Amanda Waller that aren't going to go anywhere. Those aren't going to bubble over and cause a thing.
No, Jacobs, nothing's going to happen. Don't you know that this is the only issue we're covering today? No more tension is going to rise after this moment because the book's just going to end. The book's just going to end. It's fine. So I do like the moment where Captain Cold sort of like stands up to Flag and sort of like gets forced back into the squad for the time being. But Waller then puts in the contact for someone else to come join the crew for this mission in the form of one Eve Eden. Nightshade has returned, and that is sort of our big sort of cliffhanger here for the issue, bringing us into Suicide Squad number 18.
Waller's also doing some stuff involving the other organization of Task Force X, Checkmate.
Yeah, who we're going to start building up for. I mean, you know what book is next, so yeah, we're building up to a crossover event. So for those that aren't reading Checkmate at the time, we need to be aware of who they are.
And they also technically have a plot to play in this arc.
Yeah.
Because they're because Waller is also, getting pressure from one Derek Tolliver to influence the upcoming election of Senator Joe Cray.
Completely insignificant character.
completely insignificant. Nothing
not
is
gonna do
going.
anything. Nothing's gonna
Nope.
happen. Nothing's gonna happen.
There is not. There is not. Ronald Reagan is not up for election. Well, he wasn't up for election in 1988. There isn't an election coming after 8 years of Reagan that's going to turn out a way that I don't think John Ostrander particularly liked.
What an
And
angsty boy. I love him. Okay, now we're on Suicide Squad 18. Our squad is preparing to go after the Jihad. Love our lineup here. Classic squad lineup, plus Captain Cold. But we also see Nightshade here, trying to sort of catch back up with the team, trying to get her way over there. Again, this is another issue that is mostly action set pieces, very light on dialogue. After this like big opening scene where the squad like talks to each other about the plan, like there's not much more to like actually talk about after that.
We'll say we get some great Captain Boomerang bullshit.
Yeah, who comes face to face with the woman he left to die. So that's a lot of fun. But yeah, then from that point it's action because we have Rustum fighting Rick Flag here. The squad sort of like separates, going after like individual members. Vixen ends up going after the sort of mind control girl. Shade,
who is 10 years old. This villain is 10 years old.
Yeah, and she looks evil as hell. So fuck her. But we get Shade trying to save people that are like mind controlled throughout the city. Duchess going after whatever this one's name is. I forget this one. But they were definitely here before. Oh yeah, speaking of Duchess, we didn't talk much about this volume throughout your process of reading it.
No.
I can't wait to talk about Duchess. Sorry, that just reminded me of some great things about her in this volume.
I still am trying to figure out what the hell who she actually is. Like,
well, I mean, by the end of this volume, in the next couple issues, but more on that later. We get Robin here fighting Bronze Tiger. We get Deadshot versus another one that I forget the name of. But and oh God, I forgot how many members there were of this damn team.
Again, there are so many, and they're all given names in the last issue.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really have any personality. Like, it's not.
Yeah, it's not great. The characters aren't great. I don't mind the action because it's fine. But again, I do still stand by my point that like if the Jihad arc had been more fresh in my mind, if we did this in more like a 3-episode arc, like a 3-episode block of things, like having read their arc not that long ago, I think it would have maybe changed our outlook on reading these particular first couple issues. But as it stands right now, they're just kind of like characters that we've kind of forgotten about, and they're not going to really come up much more beyond this point. So is what it is. Nightshade shows up at a very opportune time as Vixen is kind of getting her ass handed to her. Nightshade rejoins the team at a great moment. We get some more Captain Boomerang being haunted by the ghost of his past in the form of Mind Boggler, as the flag is able to capture Ifrit.
And only came back for Ifrit and did not come back for Boomerang because fuck Captain Boomerang.
Fuck Captain Boomerang, as this volume definitively states. Fuck Captain Boomerang.
In one of I
cannot wait to talk about that issue. It's so good.
It's such a. I want to say it's a weird issue.
Have I mentioned I love the Suicide Squad? Have I mentioned that at all? I don't know if I have. This is also like, here's the thing, we've covered a lot of like big famous runs and characters on this podcast, and like Suicide Squad is here solely because I am just a massive Suicide Squad fan. They really aren't that important to like comics as a whole. I just fucking love them. That's it. That's the only reason they're here.
Here's the thing. Every episode cannot be some big. Oh look, we're doing the big prelude to the Judas Contract and New Teen Titans.
Yeah,
we need some runs that like need better attention and more eyes on them, and some that don't necessarily. That don't always work out nicely. This one luckily works out very nicely.
So good. I love this run. It's Wonderful. Yeah. Our squad regroups.
Yeah.
And Flag leaves with Ifrit, and we close out our issue going into Suicide Squad number 19.
Okay, this is where the volume actually starts to take off for me. Like,
so good, such a great issue here.
Like it's I literally think it was. I don't think I don't see. I don't necessarily agree that if we did this and the other two volumes closer together, I would have loved these first two issues. I think it's just.
I don't think you would have loved them, but I'm just saying like you would at least be able to like remember some character names and like at least have a greater familiarity with them and like know have a better understanding of what you're reading if their previous relationship with the Jihad was more like fresh in your mind, you know.
It's possible, but again, I don't know if I entirely agree with that. I don't think the Jihad work as 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 Ostrander wants them to work. But Suicide Squad number 19, aka Personal Files, Amanda Waller.
Yeah. Love this opening here. The reintroduction of Nemesis to the book, which is very fun. I love the
also just another an issue where we get into Waller's head. Like we are with Waller. So again, Waller as a character has evolved quite a bit over the years and has a very different personality and is a very different character from where she started.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of am way more interested in this version of this early version of the character, I think, than necessarily some of her. Because there's so much humanizing here. Like our first page on this issue is Amanda Waller reflecting on Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities, and how she's not in the worst of times, but she's in a long way from being in the best of times.
Yeah,
all in one page.
It's that tricky problem of like you bring up like preferring this early version of her. She's a character with an actual character arc, and that kind of is a problem with great comic book characters because they can have that great arc, but then there are not many places to take that character after that point. And so you're left with some less than stellar versions of the character later down the line when it's already been done so well before.
I see. I think there are ways to keep characters interesting and keep them perpetually growing on arcs and moving them forward. I think there's a tendency to stagnate characters, and that can be a problem.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, anyway, Nemesis is back. One Tom Tresser is back. You know what was really funny is I was reading this volume at the same time that I was getting some of the early DC Finest editions that were coming out, which I've been reading and have been lovely. I picked up the Gail Simone Wonder Woman one, which I had read like a couple arcs of in the past, like sporadically, and but it's been a while, and I had forgotten that Tom Tresser was actually a big character in Simone's Wonder Woman arc, Wonder Woman run, specifically as a love interest for Diana in those books. And so I was reading these two characterizations like side by side basically. It was so weird. It was such a weird back and forth for that. So I don't know, it was weird. Anyway, catching up with some more of our squad members, Shade here, and the device that is currently holding Ifrit, and trying to like figure out what to do with that.
Well, they're trying to work it so essentially they can use Ifrit for their own purposes, and Shay, they accidentally trigger the device, and Shade sees all of his enemies and is horrified before the genie is put back in the proverbial bottle. It's like we didn't know that this was going to happen. This is all the interesting things. It just sets Waller off as she then gets a phone call.
That apparently Black Orchid has been back in the system and has been going through personal files on the squad. Orchid doesn't show up in this issue, but enough to piss Waller off. we then get some more with Shade and other squad handlers, I guess we'll call them, as they're sort of figuring out what to do at this time.
There's this great, interesting little scene, sort of with the maintenance crew. That like you have maintenance crew who are not part of the squad.
Mm-hmm. These are just people that work for Waller and are not directly involved with the squad.
And there's so a lot of tension there because, well, you're working for Amanda Waller.
Yeah. So there's sort of like fight between them, and like Waller has to like break it up.
A fight based on homophobia, which is interesting to put in your book in the late 1980s.
Yeah. I like fucking Ostrander, man, just wonderful.
And Waller's like ready to just, fire both these people, or else things are doing. And then like after it happens, there's this interesting reflection again about coming out of the closet and how times seem to be changing, but not quick enough. Almost like like our doctor character, Dr. Legrive, uses very out of date language, but I think intentionally so. Like
yeah. It's very interesting. Also, what's interesting is at this time, Deadshot is going to be taking an absence from the book for the time being, because, as the editor notes lovingly tell us, there's a Deadshot mini-series going on right now, and so anything happening with Deadshot is happening in that mini, which I believe was also written by Ostrander at the time. So
how many books was that man on? God.
He just fucking loved writing these characters, specifically characters that were at the time extremely obscure. And he just had his own little corner of the DC universe that he just loved playing around in. It was very cool. Just a great time for DC. Just fucking, can we have that again? Whatever. Anyway, I digress. Back to Eve, who is now back at Bellerive and is once again with her priest friend, who we previously had a whole issue about in the last volume.
Fantastic issue.
I love their dynamic so much. I love this relationship. Because Eve, actually, bringing it back to our sort of non-spoiler discussion, there was talk of like characters that were sort of moral anchors, or at least characters that were not explicitly villains, and like Eve just isn't that. She's just not a villainous character.
She's one of the Charleston heroes that were brought into the DC universe with Crisis, like that also brought that fully brought in Captain Marvel. Because Captain Marvel's weird kid also brought in Blue Beetle, and there's this reflection just on Eve having a demon inside of her and not being able to move forward, and wanting to get out of the squad, but not wanting to get out of the squad for reasons.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about this.
We need to talk about Duchess.
So Amanda Waller has connected some dots and put together that back
Duchess is a member of the Female Furies.
Yes. Remember that one issue story back in Volume 1 when the Furies attacked the squad, and a couple issues later, Duchess showed up. Well, Waller has put together that they are one of the same. She even shows Duchess like security footage of the attack on Bellerive and the Furies, and Duchess is like, "Huh, who's this crazy bitch?" and Waller's like, "Oh, just some crazy bitch," and they go their separate ways. But Waller has definitely like confirmed in her mind that this is who this woman is. I
don't know. I've got amnesia. But it reminds me of my granny. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? Know what I mean?
Very cool. Oh, God. So good. More on that later. Oh, God, I can't wait. By later, I mostly actually mean next volume, but more on that later.
I was going to say, she's front and center on the volume of next time. So I imagine she's going to get...
For good reason. For good reason.
Because, yeah.
You'll see.
Ostrander is spinning plates. Anyway.
Love him. What a fucking guy. I love him. Anyway, let's see.
There's I don't want to call it a montage. There's this entire issue is essentially a day in the life of Amanda Waller. Like there's a briefness of, oh shit, Mirror Master is robbing more New Orleans banks, and it's definitely Mirror Master.
Yes, definitely Mirror Master. Even though we know for a fact that Mirror Master is dead, but Mirror Master is out there robbing banks right now.
We interview Dr. Light as a potential squad member.
Indeed. What a little prick. I always just fucking hate Dr. Light whenever I see him. What a guy.
He is awful.
Just unbearable. And like not even like he's just a reprehensible character. He's just an annoying guy. Like I just don't like being around him.
And this interview is just like, no, basically it's like, well, we'll be in touch, I suppose.
Yeah.
Made all the worse by the fact that Dr. Light is apparently attracted to Amanda Waller, which just you.
Yeah. I don't think
he's a creepy little weasel.
Anyone would want to attract Dr. Light in any way.
No.
Let alone Amanda Waller. We get a great little scene between her Bronze Tiger and Economos.
Basically it's all like, well, we need fresh blood, but I don't know if we can use Dr. Light yet.
Yeah, I fucking love this next scene when she's doodling then with her shooting Tolliver and Cray, and just that genuine smile on her face and before she throws the paper out. Incredibly funny moment. Before,
well, we also find out with more certainty that Waller has been using is going to be using Checkmate to try to dig up dirt on these two, basically to strike at them before they can strike at her.
Yeah. Importantly, Waller has a plan for Tolliver and Cray already.
Also importantly, in this scene when she's interrupted by Rick Flag and Tolliver himself, she obviously doesn't tell Rick Flag the plan.
Yeah. Amanda Waller, famous for, not letting people know her fucking plans. Yeah, so
Flag, who is ready to shoot Tolliver, like blow Tolliver's brains out right then and there. Like
Waller has to threaten both of them and tell Flag to step down and get Tolliver out of there, and begins forming a plan of her own.
She has a plan. So when we end the issue with her at 2:25 in the morning, getting a call from Harry, someone called Harry. So we don't know what it says, but the dialogue is. I'm going to call the dialogue delicious because it's, yeah, what you got, Harry? What about Tolliver? No, that's fine, Harry. That's just fine with this smirk. And we have the promise that next time Mirror Master joins the squad.
Except next time is not next time. Next time is actually a Suicide Squad annual. Suicide Squad annual number 1.
I think the only annual of
I believe so. Yeah,
at least of this volume of the squad. I'm sure like some of the other volumes got annuals too, but
yeah. Hey, look at that! They're JSA, and now we'll never see them again. This is Ghosts and Shadows. As we focus in on a particularly interesting political side of the Suicide Squad. Sort of bringing us back to that early, I can't remember what series it was a part of now. The one that acted as a prelude to the main squad run. Bring us back to like where the squad began, but also having something to say about actual U.S. politics, as Ostrander always does.
Someone is very angry about the end of the Reagan era and the coming of Bush.
The coming of Bush. I like the wording of that. Also, we have a guest penciler on this in the form of Graham Nolan, who does some really, really great pages here. I love, especially on page 3 of the issue here, the portrayal of the assassination there with the silhouette of the car. Gorgeous. Just beautiful stuff.
So there's this agent called General J.E.B. Stewart, who was in charge of the organization Argent. Became known as Control, and orchestrated orchestrated the Kennedy assassination.
That's all. As you do.
Had some stuff. Quite literally finding that being able to put his hands in politics, essentially representing shady dealings of the U.S. government, because, you can tell Ostrander was clearly affected by Watergate, like, for good reason, and sort of just the 60s and 70s, like, and now into the 80s. This is his big... Everything is... Our government sucks, and we need to fix it. And, it's so interesting because, we have people... Like, we have this issue basically going into, you planned an assassination that failed of a neighboring power. And, we could have had the greatest generation. It's like, okay, that's all I needed to know. And he gets this guy strangled.
Mm-hmm. As he just walks away from it. Great little moment. And as
they were able to systemically remove all of their traces from the files, like, for everything. They don't exist, and they disappeared. And that brings us to the actual present, where we essentially get that, hey, these people are still active today, and the Manhunter of all people saved a woman from this man's agents. And, she's coming to the squad to basically ask for help.
Also, there's an editor's note referencing the Suicide Squad Doom Patrol special, as if I remember anything about the Suicide Squad Doom Patrol special. Thank you for trying to remind me of that. But it was a noble effort. But yeah, we got our squad on the case of these guys that have threatened her.
This essentially this conspiracy network that are in a private, religiously affiliated and religiously run college.
There's no reason to specifically call that out, is there?
I mean, this is the era of telemarketers and Liberty University and Ronald fucking Reagan.
We weren't just talking about Brother Blood and Teen Titans, were we?
No. This isn't something that is...
Wait, Jacob, comics aren't political, are they?
No, they only became political in 2016.
That's right. That's correct.
When they made Thor a woman.
That's right.
Or
that's...
I'm trying to think of the other ones, the other big... they made...
It's almost as if there weren't that many.
They made Iceman gay, I think.
When did Sam Wilson become Captain America? That was another big one that people hated.
But I think I could have sworn that happened earlier than 2016, though. That was...
Yeah, but people got over that one way faster. I say that they haven't. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, comics aren't political is all I'm trying to say.
They made Batman a woman.
That's right. Yeah, they made Batman. They made Batman a woman back when they created Batgirl.
And they made Superman gay.
Yeah. Bad, evil, bad.
I mean, I was with the Batman. I was referencing Kate Kane because, They made it political. Anyway,
terrible.
Back to this story.
So we are scoping out this organization
undercover, which is Okay, I don't know. There's something funny about the Suicide Squad going undercover because you have people like Rick Flag, Bronze Tiger, and Eve who can do it perfectly fine. Like,
but then Shade is here looking fucking ridiculous as he's trying to blend in. It's just really funny.
like the first one is like, oh, we're a U.S. survey team. We're we're scouting out a possible pipeline route. It's like, so
there's also, of
they
course, Captain Boomerang being Captain Boomerang during all this, as he was supposed to be involved with one half of the team and ditched that half of the team and said he was going to be involved with the other half of the team and was not with that other half of the team, but instead is here hitting on women, being
hitting on college-aged women, mind you. Again,
Captain Boomerang is easily late 40s, early 50s at this.
I was going to say, the man is intentionally. He is drawn with a receding hairline, and I don't think that's from stress.
No. This is. Oh God, what a guy! Rightfully getting dragged away from that. But the squad sort of regroups then.
He gets punched in the gut for his troubles. Thank God,
as he should. We get the squad sort of gearing up then to infiltrate this place.
We have Miss Very being kept in Belle Reve for her own safety, where she just feels so much safer and is drawn. The way she's drawn is I'd like to call it the I'm secretly the villain pose.
Hey, Jacob, we're in spoilers. That's not something that happens.
What? No.
Nothing happens. Jacob, don't you know this is a really boring book? Nothing actually happens in this book. Any plot twist that you're referring to does not actually happen. So our squad infiltrates the underground of this place. Amanda Waller, meanwhile, is driving away from Belle Reve, trying to sort of bait out an attack from these assassins.
These assassins who are members of Cobra.
Mm-hmm.
We have this moment of when the squad gets attacked, Shade projecting an image of a Cobra to scare them off. And then it's, oh my God, Waller's been shot and killed. Surprised. It's actually Nemesis, which is a great way to, get things over.
How exactly do Nemesis's powers work? Because I'm sure even if you look like someone else, I think a bullet shooting you in the chest is still a bullet shooting you in the chest.
Let's say he was wearing a bulletproof vest.
Sure. Yeah, it's actually Nemesis. Waller is actually safe, and our squad is able to fight these assassins. Our woman is actually evil, and her father is actually dead, and has been for at least 5 years. I do like this twist. It's cool. Only trouble is being an annual and being a special Suicide Squad in the middle of a arc that Ostrander had sort of ramping up for a while now. It does kind of awkwardly pause the pacing of the volume as a whole.
It does.
It's not a bad issue, and I do really like this one. It's better than like the opening Jihad issues. But still, it just
honestly, I kind of wish they might have mapped it. They mapped it in between 18 and 19. Like,
yeah, if they just thrown it like literally one issue before, I think we were still doing the more disjointed stories of the early parts of the volume. But whatever.
I mean, I get it. It's because it apparently came out between 19 and 20. Like, that's when it came out.
Yeah.
It came out in December of 88.
Even though, annuals are like never month dated though. But whatever.
Whatever. We do have a second story in the annual. That is,
yes. Waller going home. The first time we've ever really acknowledged that Amanda Waller has a life outside of the squad, has a family,
also
has people she actually cares about.
Also, this has guest art by one Keith Giffen, the late great Keith Giffen,
the king. But yeah,
it's fascinating because you say Waller has a life. She really doesn't. She's
well,
like,
yeah. The point is that she doesn't. Yeah.
It's like she's finally going home. Yeah, just a chance, just to pick up a change of clothes, and then it's on to basically going up to Washington D.C. Because everything everything is crazy. She's going up to Washington. She finds to her apartment and finds that. So she's paranoid enough to have put matches in her doorway to know if someone's going to enter without her. Notices the matches are gone. Draws her gun, and waiting inside is her daughter.
Yeah. Great fucking moment. Who wants to be open and talk with her mother nicely, but like Waller so quickly turns the conversation hostile. Like she just has no time for her daughter. Also being led into her place is her daughter's boyfriend, who oh sorry, her wife, her husband actually, who is this massive man that towers over even Amanda Waller,
who was a professional linebacker who she is. She's tired of a terrible relationship and wants out of it. And Waller does not approve of her daughter's life. Like, you get the sense that it's. You get the sense that it's for her own protection. Like, it's like she's pushed her daughter away because it's a very dark situation. And Waller's like ready, like her daughter wants to live with her, and like Waller's like, nope, that's not going to happen. I raised you better than this. You have a chance for your own life. You need to do that. And it's like, and I'm not going to get involved in your marital arguments. And then she, again, this linebacker towers over Amanda Waller.
Is still scared of Amanda Waller because everyone should be.
Waller's like, okay, my daughter needs to come to Jesus moment, but also is like, excuse me, sir. Furthermore, if you don't straighten up and treat my little girl right, I will quit my job, move in with you, and devote the rest of my life to making your life miserable. And you know I can do it.
Beautiful.
I'm like, yes,
literally this is one of the best DC characters ever. I love her. But yeah, essentially ending the scene that just showing that Waller, even with this confrontation, just still has no time for her family, doesn't want to.
Still clearly loves her daughter. Clearly loves her daughter, but has literally bigger fish to fry.
Yeah. Namely, we end this scene with her even reflecting on Tolliver and saying that he's like dead meat and that she is going to get him now. But we don't have a lot of time to dedicate to that next issue, as we're actually going to spend our next issue in Suicide Squad number 20 with Captain Boomerang and the Mirror Master.
So this was one where you said, because I did say like, oh yeah, I made it to the I read the annual, quite a good annual. Having actually, I like, oh, I feel like this is the book's really hitting its stride now, and it very much was. I believe the message you said was, I can't wait to hear about the next one. I wasn't expecting this.
This is an issue I cherish. I remember picking this one up. I have a single issue of this one, and it is one of my favorite Suicide Squad issues of all time. I adore this thing. This is Practice to Deceive. Because Mirror Master is dead, and Captain Boomerang is a fucking asshole. Captain Boomerang
and an idiot. And
an idiot is the important part there. Yeah, you're right. He is going out at night pretending to be Mirror Master and just committing crimes as Mirror Master. The point of this is, nope, I don't think there is one. He's just a dumbass.
Yeah, committing crimes as Mirror Master in Los Angeles, in proximity of Belle Reve, where he knows and has been working with Amanda Waller and as part of the Suicide Squad. Like,
So he's caught. Obviously, I'm yawning now. Fuck. He's caught, obviously.
He is caught by two cops who have been, who are pretending to be drunk and essentially are bait.
Mm-hmm. Also, Manhunter is here. Manhunter is back, I guess, carrying over from our annual. But he helps capture Mirror Master and says, I'll take him in. Don't worry about this, you guys. I'll take him where he belongs. He takes Mirror Master, or I should keep saying Mirror Master, like in air quotes. He takes Mirror Master to Amanda Waller, and they say, Mirror Master, we're glad we finally caught you. We would like you to be part of this squad. We're going to come back. We're going to unmask you, and they say, come be part of the squad. So Amanda Waller says, hey, I'm moving the squad a mission. I want Mirror Master on it, and I want Captain Boomerang on it. Hey, speaking of which, where is Captain Boomerang? Nobody knows where he is.
Importantly, we have outfitted Mirror Master. We've outfitted Mirror Master.
With an armband, with an explosive armband. Yeah. And so, getting our mission, it is time to go get Captain Boomerang. Captain Boomerang, still dressed as Mirror Master, goes back to his room, gets out of Mirror Master clothing, and says, holy shit, they're going to see that I already have the armband on. How am I going to hide this?
They're going to know. I have somehow had a perfect disguise this entire time that nobody has seen through at all. Nope.
I love it so much.
It's so great going through this a second time because I kind of already picked up. I don't think Ostrander is hiding it that Waller knows what the fuck is up.
Yeah.
Waller's prepared speech is this long ass speech about the Suicide Squad.
It is some of the most text we've ever seen on an entire page in this whole volume, and it is clearly just Waller over explaining a non-mission. So Boomerang's big idea is that he's gonna put on some regular clothes and hide his explosive armband in a sling and say, hey, I busted up my arm. Turns out I can't go on the mission. Too bad. Good luck with Mirror Master, though.
Good luck with that. It's and Waller's, of course, it's I need every warm body I can get. We're gonna let's have my own medic, let's have our own medics look at it. It's
And so we send Boomerang on the mission anyway. And so Captain Boomerang's big idea is to spend the entire mission switching back and forth between costumes, with one half of the team as Mirror Master, the other half of the team is Captain Boomerang with a sling on.
We didn't even describe what the mission is. We have to talk about the mission. So the mission is to investigate this. Okay. Because this is just the cherry on top of the insanity. Okay. Ahem. There is a voodoo crime syndicate called LOA.
It's so good.
A voodoo crime syndicate. First off, I have notes on every episode, Joey. You just don't always see me.
I know. I'm actually okay. It's worth noting for the audience, for our dear listeners right now. We actually have our cameras on right now. We don't usually record these with the cameras on, but after the me not being able to get the fucking intro out fiasco, Jacob, I guess, turned his camera on to get his reaction in, and I was like, fuck it, I'll join it. And it's actually been really fun doing this. Anyway, so in looking into this voodoo crime syndicate, naturally, Boomerang, dressed as Mirror Master, comes across Nemesis, who is turned into a zombie.
Remember, voodoo creates zombie.
Yes, of course, naturally, obviously that voodoo does. Creates a zombie with green skin.
Wait, do you not actually know that that's a thing that is technically a voodoo practice? Technically,
yeah, but creating creating like Night of the Living Dead, green skin zombie.
This is a green skin. This is not the willing slave in a trance.
Yeah,
zombie thing.
So Nemesis and Rick Flag are both turned into zombies. Nemesis is a zombie, and then he touches Rick Flag, and Rick Flag is immediately turned into a zombie. They begin hunting down Boomerang dressed as Mirror Master. Wherever he runs, taking off his mask, revealing that it's Boomerang under Mirror Master's mask.
He's trying to Yeah, he's also trying to strip into his boomerang clothes because the villain is Bokor, the leader of this of Loa, who is a design like
amazing, truly amazing. But Boomerang switches back into his boomerang gear, is being hunted down by more zombies, including
everyone on the squad is a zombie now.
Duchess. I love that even Duchess gets in on it. They're all supposedly zombies, and Boomerang is completely surrounded, and he gives up in the end. And there is Waller standing above him to essentially just say April Fools.
Yeah. Basically, this entire thing was we fucking know. It's let it not be said that Amanda Waller does not have a sense of humor, because this was all like it's like we're sending Boomerang back to jail either way because he's been doing this shit as Mirror Master. But I may as well have some fun with this.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. And
also,
so yeah,
like the leader of the Voodoo Crime Syndicate, it was
is Bronze Tiger.
Yeah. In a mask. Amazing. And I was like, it's like, oh yeah, and you believed it. Voodoo gangsters, not so much a fake as a joke, and it's all on you. Like,
amazing.
It's great because it's like you're going to be going to prison again, and also there's another Mirror Master in Spokane, Washington. Which this might be the actual Mirror Master. I don't know what the Flashbook was doing at the time.
Yeah, that would definitely be something like saved for that book. But also, turns out the Voodoo Crime Syndicate is actually real.
Yeah, and, just under the Louisiana Ordnance Association.
Yeah.
I genuinely love this twist because I'm like, oh yeah, it's like they know it's too ridiculous to be true. That's why it works.
Yeah, yeah. Part of me wants there to be a world in which this is somehow related to like Papa Midnight from Hellblazer. It's voodoo.
Who says it can't be?
Totally
Who
can
says
be.
It can't be.
Totally can be.
Somebody get Jamie Delano on the phone,
please. Anyway, we go into finally the back half of our volume here. Although none of them are annual, so I imagine we'll get through it faster. With Suicide Squad.
Well, I mean, that was the calm before the storm. This is
yeah. We had to have a good laugh before. There was a point when you messaged me as you started this next issue. You're like, "Oh, okay, cool. This got really fucking dark." Squad number 21 got dark
quick, and I just like kind of kept going. Like,
yeah, you read like what these whole last like 6 issues in one day, right?
It wasn't my intent. I was just like, oh shit, this has gotten real.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be honest. If it wasn't for the kind of weakness of the first two, this would be the best volume so far.
It's so good. It's so good. But yeah, let's open on Derek Tolliver meeting with Amanda Waller and saying, "Hey."
So it's yeah. So this is Rogues. We take place on Monday, November 7th, 1988, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Mm-hmm. Not a
significant the day before Election Day.
Not a significant day whatsoever. But yeah, Tolliver is telling Waller, "Hey, it's almost Election Day.
This is one last meeting, and this is where we get it spelled out. Of I have orders exactly what you need to do. You need to get things going on. You need to eliminate Senator Cray's rival, and you need to send Colonel Rick Flag to do it."
So, otherwise, of course, the threat is that, if she doesn't do this, if she doesn't comply, that he will blow the lid on Task Force X, and everyone will know what she does, who she works for, who is working for her. And so,
Waller has a file folder of her own to slam down on the table. She's saying, open this up. You'll recognize it. It's like, where'd you get the information? Doesn't matter where I got it. You know what this means, don't you? You've been checkmated. And it's like, hey, Cray. Like, what do I tell Cray? Cray's your problem. But, you've seen this. I have dirt on Cray.
And Amanda Waller walks away thinking that she has solved the problem, because she essentially has. You know, she's won essentially.
She has won.
But then we go over to Rick Flag, who, if you know where it's going, you can see it coming right from these first two panels. Like, it's so fucking good. Rick Flag is like polishing a gun, just looking at it, like really fucking sad.
I think what helps is that Rick Flag throughout this entire volume has been withdrawn. He has had a presence, but he has not been the focus, and he has specifically been in the background.
Yeah. And so what we have here is a great little scene between him and Eve. Always love the dynamic. There's always been this sort of implication of a sort of budding romance between them.
But I wouldn't say budding. I would say a potential romance. It's. I don't know if it would necessarily, at least now, be budding, but
it's
we find out that Eve has broken into to Dr. Legree's files to basically get on, like, hey, I know that you stopped going to therapy, that you want to be just like your dad, and that you are, that your dad essentially committed suicide in the line of duty, and that you are living with that guilt, and you want to basically have the same fate. It's a fascinating argument.
Yeah.
And it ends with this great little ending of like Rick being like, well, I have a private mission I have to attend to.
And him saying that the squad is all he has left. So he leaves Eve alone. And first off, we actually also see June here then.
Dr. June Moon, aka the Enchantress.
Yeah, who this is the only time she's going to show up throughout the entire volume. Great to see her again, though. She is threatening Eve here, and the implication being that there's still like a bit of Enchantress, like trying to.
She wants that power. She wants that power back.
Yeah,
and ends up shooting Eve straight through the chest. Immediately regrets it. Gets shot for her efforts, and we have them both out of action.
Yeah.
We have then
okay.
Amanda Waller gets Amanda Waller gets Anita Bryanted? Like that's what happens. She gets pied.
Yeah. And the obvious first assumption to make is, oh, Boomerang is getting back at me for that little stunt last issue. But Boomerang is shown in the hallway right after, and the same thing happens to him. There is a mystery pie thrower running around Bellevue.
Someone is throwing pies.
And the best thing about it is it doesn't fucking get resolved this volume.
And it doesn't.
And I did start my reread for the next volume. It continues into the next volume. It's hilarious, genuinely hilarious.
Boomerang thinks it's Waller for some reason.
Amazing. But Eve Eden is now in a critical condition, as you know, being shot and all that.
It's being prepped for surgery. Mentions before surgery, demands to talk to Waller to be like, why the hell did you put whatever mission you put Flag on? You need to fucking cancel it. It's like, wait, I didn't put him on a mission. Oh no.
And we also great little moment here, also working at Belle Reve right now, is Amanda Waller's big sister, Mary.
Yeah.
Who's a fascinating character here that doesn't get much time to shine, but has a fantastic scene here. And that great bouncing off of the annual where we see Waller's daughter. Seeing her sister here also has some great commentary on like Waller's separation from her work and personal life, and like she rightfully reprimands Waller for being as controlling as she is, and Waller just treats her like another employee and threatens to fire her. It's a great little moment, fantastic moment. But yeah, having learned of Rick Flag's supposed mission he needs to go on, Waller kind of kicks into high gear and realizes that something absolutely terrible is about to happen. As our very next scene.
In Washington, D.C., 5:15 p.m.
Derek Tolliver is making a phone call, gets a knock on the door.
He's specifically saying, I need, it's like, I talked to Waller, everything's gonna be fine by tomorrow. However, I need to talk to you. No, we need to go someplace neutral. We need to talk. It's necessary. Probably at 11 o'clock. It's like, well, I'll meet you at the Lincoln Memorial. Tolliver has a gun. Like, it's implied Tolliver is getting ready for a murder-suicide. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, whatever Amanda Waller dug up on these men, it's enough to send them to a murder-suicide.
Yeah. Trouble is, you know who else has a gun? One Captain Rick Flag, who is waiting on the other side of Tolliver's door, says practically nothing. The only thing he says is that he is protecting the squad. Kills Derek Tolliver in cold blood.
Tolliver begging to say, just talk to Waller. Like, you don't have to do this. Shoots him. Outright says goodbye. Craze next, then it will be all over and the squad will be safe. And there's a press release on Tolliver's desk for anyone to see, unmasking the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
So like,
oh god, it's so good. It's so good. Oh, amazing. There is also a nice little backup story at the end of the issue here, featuring Bronze Tiger.
Mainly to explain what Bronze Tiger's doing. It's a nice little backup. It's actually not written by Ostrander. It's written by Larry Gannam.
Art by Peter Krause. It's just a great little story. It's Bronze Tiger facing an assassin, and Waller
stopping an assassin. Stopping an assassin from, okay. It's a very interesting situation because it's so there's in a South American country. I don't believe they actually specifically say which one. Oh no, they say it's Cuesta Verde, so not a real South American country. That there is a democratic opposition leader to the military dictatorship that is being targeted by an assassin. The assassin has also been paid to target a drug kingpin. So, what Waller wants Bronze Tiger to do is go, let the assassin get the drug kingpin, but take him out before he can get rid of the democratic opposition to the military dictatorship. Which is fascinating. I think it's obviously because it's not Ostrander writing, but I have a feeling that Ostrander had a hand in at least setting this out.
Ostrander was the had the monopoly on anything Suicide Squad related at this time. So like it, I'm sure it was at least run by him at some point.
It's like, yeah, Ostrander is saying, hey, the United States government's interference in the democratic processes in South America, which is something that has been going on for a very long time now, is bullshit and should be stopped by any means necessary. Weirdly enough, John Ostrander, left-wing writer that he is, believes in democracy. Who would have thought?
Jacob, are you telling me comics are political?
Telling you comics are political.
Crazy.
The United States government is rotten to the core.
Anyway, let's talk about Suicide Squad number 22. Another cover that I love. Another issue that I have physically that I don't know. I love so many of these issue covers. They're wonderful. So
speaking of comics are political.
Final round. Oh man. Okay. So, this is another one of my all-time favorite Suicide Squad issues. Crazy how that keeps happening. But we found out Rick Flag went AWOL, and we have to find him and stop him before it's too late, because the Suicide Squad currently thinks it is not too late.
Now we know it is 6:23 Central Standard Time, aka 7:23 EST. Tolliver's been dead for over an hour.
Yeah. And so what we have here is
we need to talk about the morality at play here, because Waller essentially sets out that it's like, okay, here's the situation. Toller and Cray were going to blow our cover if we didn't get Cray reelected.
Clearly, Rick Flag knew about this and thought that he should go after them himself.
Waller admits to the team, I was able to delay it until I was able to get information that checkmated Tolliver.
Mm-hmm. And so now,
mind you, Deadshot chimes in. It's like, you should have just shot him, which is like, no, that that would have complicated things. You'd do it. What? Don't tell me you'd be dumb enough to shoot him too. Sadly, Colonel Flag is at your same mind. So we think he's going to want you to kill them both, because he didn't know that I had a plan. And Bronze Tiger just lays right into her.
Yeah. Because once again, Bronze Tiger, essentially the moral anchor of the team, especially right now with Rick Flag being in the position that he's in. Bronze Tiger is essentially the voice of reason here. So the squad is tasked with stopping Rick Flag by any means necessary. Bronze Tiger, being opposed to this mission, says, I'm not going. Deadshot says, well, okay, fine, I'm just going to go kill him. And Waller says, well, Ben, if you want Rick Flag not dead, you can just go on the mission yourself and stop Deadshot from killing Rick Flag. And so essentially we have one half of the team that agrees with Ben and the other that does not. And now it's time to see if we can stop Rick Flag and in what way we're going to do that. Also, I love the aspect of this issue that is the reader already knows that it's too late and that Rick Flag has already accomplished this mission.
Well, he's already killed Tolliver. He hasn't killed Cray yet. That is important. But no, it's utterly fascinating because, one, obviously, like, Shade, Nemesis, and Vixen are the ones on Bronze Tiger's side. They are going to step away, and it's like, okay, you can step away, fine. But yeah, we'll leave it to these others.
Yeah.
Simon LaRive also steps in to say, hey, Deadshot should not be on this mission because of whatever happened in the Deadshot miniseries. It's like, well,
I mean, also Deadshot is just Deadshot. I've never read the Deadshot miniseries. I feel like I don't need any further context, but apparently he's even more dangerous right now than he normally is. So
Waller does have Flo trying to raise Tolliver to warn him that something's happening, and we have a detective
who has found one dead Derek Tolliver,
as well as the press release memo of the Suicide Squad. It's like, well, what the fuck's going to happen if the media gets wind of this? And his assistant. And the weird thing is the memo was just a carbon copy. He has no idea where the real thing is, and we find out, oh, his assistant has it. His assistant has been fallen on hard financial times. And getting this to the press will pay a big tip.
Yep. Great fucking moment. Something so just wonderfully human about that moment. Like it is.
This issue is a snowball effect, just downhill, and you can see it picking up speed.
Yeah. And so our squad goes into action, trying to find Rick Flag. We're also Daily Planet appearance first off. Crazy.
Well, before that, we get very much that it's like we don't know where Rick Flag is. Vixen's trying to pick up his scent. Deadshot's a hunter. There's this very brief moment of Vixen specifically asking Ben if can he do it? Can he kill him? It's like neither of them quite know till the moment comes, and then we get this appearance from
I love the way it's introduced the editorial offices of a great metropolitan newspaper. Cameo appearances from Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, and Perry White.
And Clark. Clark is Clark is there in silhouette.
Yeah, I think it's a dialogueless appearance. But yeah, everyone else like actually speaks and has a whole page here about like actually getting this to the press. It's an interesting moment. I think there's something really cool about using that as a sort of reference point for how big this is actually getting. It doesn't quite reach the status of like, massive DC event or anything, but using the Daily Planet, something so familiar to the average DC reader, as sort of like a reference point for like how far this is getting. I think is really cool.
Well, also narratively for Waller, it's the worst thing that could happen. Not only does it get to the press, it gets to the Daily Planet.
Yeah.
Which is the pinnacle of the press. If they are going to publish something, it's going to be fucking true.
Yeah.
The genie's out of the bottle.
So good. Oh, I love it. And so we get our big finale here. Or no, I say big finale. It's the last it's the last like 10 pages of the issue, but it's so good.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we need to play-by-play events because things are escalating.
Mm-hmm.
Nemesis finds out there was contact. Tolliver was shot and killed in his offices at 5:30 in the evening.
Mm-hmm. Cray is aware of Tolliver's death. Rick Flag is following Cray this whole time. Deadshot is following Rick, and Waller is losing her shit back at Belle Reve during all of this. Knowing that like there is nothing she can do about it at this moment.
Trey is also convinced he has won re-election. Mind you, this is still the day, but this is still Monday night.
Yeah.
Election day has not happened yet. The votes have not been cast.
Yeah. And so we have Nemesis here then trying to find Rick. Rick finally being face to face with Cray, then ready to shoot him. Then there's a wonderful image of Deadshot sitting on the Lincoln Memorial. I fucking love that moment. And Deadshot telling Rick to stand down, and if he doesn't stand down, he will stop him by any means necessary. Deadshot heavily implying that he is willing to kill Rick Flag in this moment.
But, okay. I think props need to go to Luke McDonnell here.
The framing of it, yeah.
Well, for the framing, because it's on page 17 of the actual issue. It's 203 of the collection.
Mm-hmm.
You have Flag, his gun pointed right at Cray. It's a tiny detail, but Deadshot has his gun also pointed at Cray.
Yeah. Oh, you mean in the fourth to last panel? Yeah.
Fourth to last panel, like
because in the first panel of the page, he still has it pointed at Rick.
He has it pointed at Rick, yeah.
So in that conversation, we
see it. We see it happening, and when it happens, there's this interstitial panel of the Lincoln Memorial watching on.
There's
Abraham Lincoln mainly probably being one of the few American presidents who was it's the closest thing a president can be to a good person, especially an American president.
Yeah. Watching that, you get the panel of Deadshot firing, you get the panel of a bullet going through Cray's head, and Deadshot telling Rick to go. And there's something so fucking feral about Deadshot in this moment as he rips his mask off and says, "Go or I'll blow your brains out again." He is confronted by the police, is ready to try to take them on himself, knowing Deadshot has a death wish here. Is what's happening. He's ready to die. He wants to die, and
he's also very much like he's screaming so the police can hear that he's the one who killed them both. Like that's the official story. To save Rick Flag, which is fascinating.
And even through all this, Deadshot, the cruel there's a cruel irony of it in that Deadshot does not even get his death wish, that he actually survives the bullets that he is riddled with in the end, just barely, and is still taken back to Belle Reve and put back into Waller's care. Amazing twist of fate there.
I love this dialogue between Waller and Deadshot. It's like just following your orders. I never told you to do that. Said to keep Flag from killing Cray by any means possible. Exact words. I didn't mean by killing him yourself. Should have said so. I don't read minds.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about this some other time. You're just constantly getting well, you know. I want you healthy when I kill you myself.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. And so we
also find out
Flag
has disappeared. Flag's disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And Amanda Waller has to face the government. Also, there's an alien invasion on.
Yeah, because there's a little crossover event for DC happening at this time,
called creatively Invasion.
Invasion.
It's fascinating. The late '80s DC event. You have Legends, Millennium, Invasion. Like, great.
It's clever. I think it's not.
It's not.
But that's fine. But also, it's important to note that Invasion was happening at this time, because we're gonna be sort of bouncing in and out of certain events from that over the next couple issues here.
Never losing sight of the fall. Importantly, losing sight of the fallout from.
Yeah, these are technically tie-in issues, in that they do actually directly tie into Invasion, the event, but they never detract from the event. Which
I actually think Ostrander uses the event to his advantage. Like, even at the end of this of 22, it's like, you know, it's the sitting like, well, there's an alien invasion happening that could keep us out of the press and maybe get people on our side.
Yeah,
maybe.
Exactly. Fun fact: we've actually read tie-ins to Invasion before, back in Wonder Woman.
Correct.
Yeah. So I guess continuing the weird trend of ours, where we just read tie-ins to 80s DC events, mostly through Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman.
Let's be honest; those are our big post-crisis 80s runs. I'm sure when we get to the point in New Teen Titans, there'll be some crossovers there.
Of course, yeah.
But what's interesting is that, like, a lot of these events aren't in print. Like, it's like I'm surprised Legends at least isn't in print, especially with the way Crisis is in print and how big Ostrander Suicide Squad run is.
Yeah. Speaking of big things in Ostrander Suicide Squad, let's talk about Suicide Squad number 23, which back when I got it, back when I got this fucking issue, it cost more than it does today, actually, which I find really weird for being a first appearance of a character. I paid like $40, and it only goes for like $25, I think. So whatever, I lost somewhere along the line.
However, this is the first issue with a co-writing credit by Kim Yale.
Yeah. So it's not a super relevant conversation to be having right now, but
let's have the conversation when it happens.
Yeah. Okay. You're right. You're absolutely right. Weird War Tales is the title of this issue. As I love this opening scene between Waller and Flag, just like a very open threat to Flag as a person, because Flag fucked up and he knows he fucked up. And actually, as another point, because I did start rereading the next volume already. There's the first issue of the next volume I do kind of wish was included in this volume. I wish it ended this particular set of issues here, but whatever. I'm glad we're going immediately into it next time, because it's a great way to sort of have an epilogue to this volume, because where this volume leaves off, and that kind of starts off here, Flag has a very kind of open-ended character arc here that we're not really going to see any sort of fulfillment for until next volume. So whatever. Anyway, also on Deadshot, Deadshot sort of is starting to heal now, and back in costume here. They're being dropped off by Waller here, and is this wait? Am I? Oh wait, hang on. I'm totally imagining this, aren't I? That's right. This is all imaginary, isn't it? I forgot about this scene. Yep, Waller's imagining all these people here.
Waller is it's this amazing insight into Amanda Waller as a character, because
that's right. I forgot what this scene was. Yes, okay.
Because she is cracking up, because it's hey, everyone's telling us like, you just want power. That's what you are. Because again, Flag's not around. He's still missing. But Bronze Tiger's back.
Mhm.
Debriefing with Economos, and he does not want to deal with Waller because again, Amanda Waller fucked up by not telling anybody about her plan to checkmate Tolliver and Frey. Like,
yeah. Oh, great stuff. We're also sort of commenting on invasion this whole time. The relationship between the Thanagarians and the Okarans, and how the squad is sort of like relating to that. The squad has a lot more directly to do with invasion itself. But for now, this is what we have here. It's kind of what we're stuck with.
I mean, this is all flashing back to the mission into Moscow. Which is a great, fun mission to read.
You get to see Vixen and Duchess and Bronze Tiger all kind of throwing down here. It's very fun.
Getting attacked by Rocket Reds in the end.
Yes.
And that they're essentially fighting in this invasion. But this also is very much like, hey, we technically won, but this was still a very grim invasion. This is also, I think, published in the middle of the event, like after. I think this was published after the second issue of Invasion, is what it says.
There are specific points in the event that these are meant to take place.
The debriefing ends. Is Economos basically says, hey, maybe you should clear out with Flo your sort of romantic interest between yourself and Vixen, because she had a thing for you.
I do really like this moment where like Flo is sort of like reflecting on like Ben and Vixen's relationship, because Bronze Tiger and Vixen have been a thing, and Flo was Ben's ex, and so there's that great little reflection there. Oh, but also one tiny little thing here happening.
I want a little thing about the two panels before we get to this one tiny little thing here.
Sure.
Because the tiny little thing is gonna cause a giant tangent.
It's gonna cause a giant tangent.
It's very interesting that it's like that. We're still Ostrander is again playing with normal character dynamics. Like, so much of this book is character dynamics over everything else, because we don't have like Bronze Tiger and Vixen are our and Shade are our superheroes, our real trio of superheroes who are constants. Mainly Bronze Tiger and Vixen have been the big constants here. And Flo is just a normal woman who has her own, like, is dealing with a relationship in her own terrible way, and is talking to a computer and just ranting, referencing Snow White about how terrible things are. And then the face of comics changes forever in one panel, and nobody knows it yet.
Hello, I am Oracle. Is anyone present? First off, imagine paying $40 for this issue like I did and getting a single panel of the first appearance of Oracle. This shit. I will never not feel ripped off, but also it is a cool piece of comic history.
Well, it's not just a cool piece of comic history. It makes sense. Like, Ostrander and Yale are setting up Oracle as a mysterious figure.
Yeah.
Oracle doesn't make another appearance in this. Doesn't make another proper appearance in this volume. But
isn't she in the very next issue?
She might be brief. Oh, there might be a brief message, but I know they mention her a bunch.
Yeah.
And we say her.
Yeah.
Part of the point is nobody knows who this character is.
Yeah. And
it is a mystery.
Yeah, it's a mystery. Weirdly, a mystery that readers of the time would never be able to figure out. No. Because spoilers, it's Barbara Gordon. Everyone knows that, I imagine. I like to think everyone knows that. But Barbara Gordon just wasn't this character at all. Ostrander and Yale plan on rebuilding this character from the ground up. So you wouldn't really be able to put that together.
1988 was a big year for DC in terms of sweeping changes to some of their core characters. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
The Killing Joke. People say it wasn't meant to be canon. I've seen some stuff where it says from Alan Moore, it's like, no, it was pretty much always meant to be canon.
Yeah.
Like, this thing.
Can I tell you where this whole thing comes from? Actually, this was a mutual agreement between Ostrander and Kim Yale, but I would imagine I know for a fact, based on Ostrander's stories about his lovely late wife, that this came about because Kim Yale just fucking hated the Killing Joke, fucking despised it, thought it was one of the worst comics ever, and wanted to do something about it. And so,
and let's be honest, Oracle. If there is a, I do love the Killing Joke. It's Alan Moore.
Yeah, let's establish something as people that talk about comics on a regular basis online.
We love
the Killing Joke. The Killing Joke's amazing, obviously.
It's also problematic as fuck. Like, Barbara Gordon is literally just there to be fridged. Like,
yeah. So it's like,
and that is a problem. So let's rescue this bad decision. A decision that, let's be honest, it's on Alan Moore. He could have easily made Barbara's disability in that story. He could have easily put it in there that Barbara gets more than just literally being fridged because Joker wants to make Commissioner Gordon go insane and have no agency at all. He could have, but he didn't. But it's here. Also, you think Ostrander and Yale are having fun with like the mystery aspect? Because let's be honest, they know no one's gonna fucking guess it's Barbara Gordon. Like,
and so they're able to essentially remake the entire character by building her up as a completely new character, by getting them to know the character separated from her previous identity before that identity actually becomes relevant. Which I think is brilliant. It really, really is. And
I'm curious to see if they're going to put any red herrings in on who it could be.
Not in the slightest.
Not in the slightest.
Not in the slightest.
I have a feeling there was some speculation on red herrings on who Oracle could be. I have a feeling a lot of those could be people like the Riddler, like actual villains, like intelligent villains, working with computers.
There were. Okay, there's something like coming up in some of our early Oracle appearances that will begin to give things away. Not enough that you could immediately put 2 and 2 together, but there are things that will hint towards it. But again, it was more about just making a separate character first, and then saying, "Hey, this is someone else entirely," and really getting a chance to. This is another thing that I love about Oracle's early appearances, is that she is a character entirely based on her personality. Like, you only know her through dialogue. You only know her through the way that she interacts with the people that she's like hacking into here at Belle Reve. It's a really fascinating way to introduce the character, and I think really smart to make the focal point of her appeal. Strictly the way that she interacts with these characters, and nothing else. There's no design to go off of. There's not even like a specific voice in mind for anything. You're talking to a computer screen for the most part.
I mean, it's again. I think even in the very next issue, they're like, we don't know if this is a man or a woman. Like,
So, go Kim Yale. I disagree, but I appreciate your hatred of the Killing Joke, making this a possibility. So,
I mean, she's right. She's got every right to be mad. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like, anyway, outside of that tangent, because we still have a couple of pages that are left. Again, so after Waller is basically, now that her hand has been forced, is basically like, well, we need to go recruiting. We've lost Flag, we've lost Deadshot, so it's like, okay, Dr. Legrieve and Barney are trying to recruit, so it's like, okay, Dr. Light, we could maybe do that. Punch and Julie,
Jacob, Punch and Julie.
Count.
You remember Punch and Julie, right?
I remember them.
The best characters. Anyway, yes, Count Vertigo. Great to see Count Vertigo call out.
And Marnie's quitted.
Because, just little.
Because this is too much. And here's the thing: they're going to go together. Like they're both going to quit by the end of this volume, and
Yeah.
it is a thing.
Yeah, so good.
We get a great scene between Nightshade and Nemesis.
So good. Where Nemesis gets to tell Eve a story about Captain Boomerang actually being in Australia as part of the invasion event, and him actually interacting with other Australians is somehow even more embarrassing than him interacting with people who aren't Australian. There's even a working theory by some of the people here that he's not actually Australian, that he's just putting on the voice for them. Incredibly funny. I really, really love it. And seeing just this great little moment of Tom and Eve just being friends and laughing with each other.
A little bit of levity, and then Tom, leaves Eve. He's being stalked by someone,
and then he gets pied in the fucking face again, and we still don't find out who it is.
I was shocked. I thought he was gonna get shocked or shot because, you see this figure with someone with a gun, and I'm like, wait, it's not.
Pie
nope, it's a pie.
It's a pie to the face.
And just gotta ask, who the fuck is pieing all these people?
Sometimes the perfect end to an issue is just a pie to the face. And that takes us wonderfully into Suicide Squad number 24. Finally, the cover of this volume. I don't know. I think there are some better covers you could have chosen for the volume, personally.
I think it's because they wanted a group shot.
Yeah, but also, most people picking up this volume don't know who half these characters are. So, I don't know. Whatever.
I'm trying to think of which cover would you have gone with? I'm curious.
I'm thinking probably there's the one I might go with the Mirror Master one personally. I love that one. But that also might be my personal love of that issue. I do also love the Campaign 88 cover. I think that's wonderful. That might be my go-to actually.
25 might have also worked a little better.
Which one was 25?
It's
yeah, that would be really cool actually.
It's a slightly better group shot.
Yeah, and also Punch and Julie. So
yeah. Yes, it's again, it's the problem of the team is now different.
Yeah, and Ostrander is much more leaning into the the Suicide Squad can essentially be anyone. Anyone can be on this team, and we can have sort of a more rotating cast, which is cool.
Mainly so Waller can cover her ass now that she is in front of, she's in front of a special Senate subcommittee, headed by Eve's father. Something that we didn't mention last time.
Mm-hmm. Not relevant at all, obviously. But Waller is in court, and all the while,
She's still scheming. She is still scheming.
Still scheming. Love it.
She is making sure that her now much expanded squad is all on a mission, mainly so that they do not have to take the stand, and Waller can say he cannot say why they're not here because that would violate national security. It is playing with chess. Nemesis is pissed about this and is about ready to leave, and outright tries to tell Waller, "Hey, if I leave, what are you gonna do? Have me killed because that's your style. I know too much. You have too much power," and he leaves. He leaves and outright says on the way out, all right, Waller, you get one shot, then I'm coming back after you.
So good. I do also like the whole playing these sort of flashbacks of the mission briefing alongside Waller's nervous tick in the courtroom. Very cool. I just heard tapping the pen on the desk. It's nice. It's a great way to this is almost like cinematic way of just building up tension throughout the issue. It's very cool. And again, this is all an invasion tie-in, which is still so weird that it works so well on its own and is actually still able to do its own thing.
So it turns out that the actual mission is actually to try to do some good. There is a Sister Agnes Martin who was head of a global relief effort, who has been taken prisoner by some guerrillas, guerrilla fighters called the Ramos, and she is being captain. So the squad is basically being sent in to track her down and bring her back alive.
Mm-hmm. Oracle appearance, page 9 of the comic.
Fair. Oh yeah, for literally 2 panels.
About as much as her first appearance.
Actually, a little more because she gets a little more dialogue.
Yep.
And we find out through this Oracle appearance. First off, Waller's vast network of information cannot track down who the hell Oracle is. Like, they don't, know who it is. And it turns out Oracle has all the names of everyone who works for Waller and is ready to list them out.
Amazing.
And it's, I can just imagine. Oddly enough, the voice I'm imagining is it's not quite Tara Strong. It's more Mary Kay Bergman from the who as Batgirl, because I know obviously this is Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, interesting. Mine is always oh god, I'm blanking on the actress's name now. Kimberly Brooks from Arkham Asylum.
Either that or Kimberly Brooks. Like, there's
because it's Oracle. Like, it's Oracle specifically. Like, it's her voice. She just is Oracle to me. I forget the actress that does her in Night Now, but Kimberly Brooks does it in Asylum and City, and she's my preferred Oracle voice. But anyway,
Waller's trying to get a computer virus into the systems for Oracle to swallow and take the bait. We also now have Legrive saying that he's leaving to take a position at the head of the Institute for Metahuman Studies at Vandermeer.
Mm-hmm. And Waller just doesn't put up much resistance. She says, "Best of luck to you, Simon. Now get the hell out of here." And
also, Marnie's already quit, and it's so reflective on how these last few issues have gotten to Waller as a character. That, like, she's started to break down. I don't want to say break down her walls, but show the cracks.
Yeah. Also makes for another great transition into the courtroom, like knowing how much stress Waller is under. She like breaks her pencil on the desk. And it's just a great little moment. I really love that. Meanwhile, our squad is preparing to go on their mission together. Look, I know they're ridiculous, but Punch and Julie are just always fun to read, no matter what context they're in. Incredibly fun characters. We get our squad landing then, sort of going out together. I love that dialogueless panel when they first arrive in the village, specifically of Bronze Tiger and Vixen looking down on the villagers there. I think that's just fantastic moment. Really, really love that. Our squad then goes into action, trying to find the ones that did this. They eventually do. Most of our issue then goes into this great little action sequence, which takes us through the rest of the issue then, and closes us up, taking us into the final issue of today with Suicide Squad number 25. This is Sea of Troubles, and boy oh boy is it. So Waller still on trial, picking up pretty much where we left off with her.
We open, oddly enough, with Checkmate watching the trial.
Because obviously this affects them too. Watching to see what happens to Waller. Answering some very point-blank questions about what it is the Task Force X does. And mostly just like very short answers and just taking it as it comes, because in her mind, she still has a way around this, and she very much does. But I do love the way this is sort of like portrayed to the reader, in that like Waller has kind of lost in this moment, that like everything's out in the open, and these are like these questions are like saying like are her directly saying admitting to like things that that Task Force X has done. Obviously,
it's also telling that like she could get called in for perjury because she outright lies on the stand about like, let me put it to you this way, Mrs. Waller. Are there any such groups under the Task Force X banner of which Mr. Tolliver was not aware?
and
She outright says no.
Nope.
Which he apparently didn't know about Checkmate. Didn't know about Checkmate. Checkmate is still secret. And you know that
and then
is
there's an interesting moment where after sort of leaving the trial, finding some reporters outside of the courtroom, people were asking Waller asking Waller questions, and at one point she goes, "Either Marvin never really knew me, or I'm not really Amanda Waller." And the guys at Checkmate sort of like rewind that and specifically focus in on, "Or I'm not really Amanda Waller." Fascinating moment. Fascinating moment.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what is being. I have a feeling that that is going to potentially be used either to bite Waller in the ass or to save her ass. Like it's one of the two.
We shall see. Moving on, then we get more of our squad.
Our mission to find this nun, which is largely action, very good action.
There's not really too much to talk about though outside of that action, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's going into a foreign country and trying to save someone who's a relief effort from who's in charge of a relief effort from a dictator. You know, we do have Rustum on the team, who has been bantering with Bronze Tiger about that precarious position, which I have a feeling is going to fall apart in any way. It's Ostrander and it's still I think it's still Luke McDonald. Yeah, it's still Luke. No, it's Grant Meehan and Carl Kessel on art.
Oh, lovely, lovely to see some Carl.
For this issue, has some really fun with Rustum. Like, looks like he's going to try to murder Bronze Tiger's. Like, actually, I brought us uniforms so we can sneak in, and it's it's a delightful moment.
I love that panel. Yeah. Yeah, we get some Waller talking to our senator, then implying that she's going to strike some sort of deal. Interesting moment. We'll follow up on that at the end of the issue. We get more of the squad going after this military camp out here. Nightshade finds our nun. Let's see. We go into action. Then we get some more fight scenes. Actually, there's some especially great art. I think this is what kind of differentiates the action in this issue from the last one. Is probably that Carl Kessel influence. I love that full, like almost half a page panel of Count Vertigo using some of his powers. I think that's really nice.
It's a great because Count Vertigo ends up being a panel divider, so you can also see Shade on one half and Vixen on the other, and Punch and Julie in a third. It's really, really well laid out.
Yeah. Really some great art in this issue. But our squad is able to escape, except for I don't know who dies here. What's the name of this character?
Is it Shirk? I think it's Shirk.
Oh no, Shrike. I think
Shrike. Yeah.
That's it. Yes, correct. Okay.
This was another. I hate to say this was a C or D list villain who
classic Suicide Squad. Got to have some cannon fodder villains. It's all right. But our squad escapes, and we recap our ending here, or rather, we summarize our ending here.
We've summarized the ending of the trial. First off, that it's like, well, it turns out that like, hey, this sister is going to remain and still do this great work, and it turns out that Senator Eden has decided that that we are reversing our stance on investigating the Suicide Squad after just how important it is that they rescued a nun and lost one of their valued members in the line of duty.
how courageous that Suicide Squad is. Got to keep them around. However, they will no longer be under the leadership of Amanda Waller. Instead, this random guy here,
J. Danfield
Kale,
who's a man from the intelligence community
with impeccable credentials and background. So the Squad finds out about this and says, "Oh well, okay, boo-hoo. I guess we'll miss we'll miss Amanda Waller. Sure thing."
Immediate next panel. Hello, children.
You fucking love it. It's such a great line, such a great panel.
And she was just smiling. And it's like, well, who's the new boss?
Kale is the public boss. Amanda Waller is still your actual boss, and the Squad will go on.
J. Danfield Kale is a fiction, a deep cover created some time ago. This here is Jack Kovacs, an actor who we hired to play Kale when we need him.
Fantastic. And that is where issue and volume end off.
Okay. Nightshade also quits.
Nightshade does also quit, yes. But also next time, where is Rick Flag? Again, I do really wish, given that little teaser text, I do wish the next issue was included in this volume. But
I mean, I get why it isn't, because I'm guessing it's part 0 or part 1 of the Janus Directive.
In a roundabout way. I think it could have been included, but whatever.
Does it say on the cover Janus Directive 1 of 12?
It does not.
Oh, okay, interesting.
It does not.
Interesting. Interesting. But that was Suicide Squad Rogues.
That was the volume. Such a great collection of stories. I really, really love Rogues.
A great time to be had. It's so fascinating because our moral centers are being stripped away from the Squad one by one. Like, the only strong ones that we have left in terms of moral centers really are Bronze Tiger and Vixen.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I mean, you technically have Shade, but he's not that strong of a moral center. Part of his deal is he's kind of a weaker character. In terms of portrayal, not in terms of characterization. It's a strong characterization, but it's a very weak, almost passive uncertainty about the character.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I know for a fact what we're going to be getting more Oracle next time. We've got to be
definitely more Oracle next time. Obviously next time is also our focus is a bit more split. It's a crossover event with Checkmate, which Ostrander had his hands all over, and really the other titles that it crosses over with are like single issue crossovers like Firestorm. So it's nothing massive. But all that said,
it is massive. It is a 12-issue crossover.
Well, yes, but I mean those 1-issue crossovers are not massive. But all that is to say, we'll be covering that next time. We're covering Janus Directive next time, and then we'll be moving on to something else. Something DC still, of course. But we are coming up sort of to the end of our DC block. But also, I'm realizing this now once again. This is our last episode of the year. This is
2024.
Coming out on December 30th. So crazy. Happy New Year, everyone, I guess. We'll be picking up the year with Suicide Squad, obviously. More Suicide Squad, I should say. I think also last time we did Suicide Squad, it was the first of our year, I believe. Back at the start of 23, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, technically.
Yeah. Huh. Really interesting. So
start of a calendar year. It was like again, it was a couple of issues into the actual podcast year that runs.
I don't like that you split it up that way. A year is a year, Jacob. Anyway.
Yes, and our year is October 31st to October 31st.
No, it's not. That's not when a year starts. It's all right. Let's begin closing this out. Jacob, promotions. What do you have going on right now?
Promotions. Still, I've mainly been just a couple of things on my blog. The occasional Doctor Who Big Finish review for Indie Mac user. Occasionally, it's just been a little difficult for me to listen to Big Finish stuff recently and get those reviews out for them. But my blog has been reviewing Star Trek: The Next Generation, and at the time that this has come out, I will have done episode titled. We're recording this slightly in advance.
Lonely Among Us.
Lonely Among Us. I at the time of recording, we have yet to have a truly good episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Last outpost got pretty close for you.
It got close, but there's some big failings there. So I'm hopefully between the time of recording and this being released, where I've had 2 reviews out, at least one of those will be good. I hope.
Lily Among Us is okay. I remember it's not too bad.
It's not too bad. Okay, well,
I'm not a huge fan of Where No One Has Gone Before, but is what it is. But yeah, I also for me, I also do a Star Trek. I also do reviews of those with my brother. We do video reviews. You can check those out on the channel. Also, if you want to check those out a week early, you can join our Patreon at the Ensign tier. Check that out there. What else? Also on the channel, there's Fresh Face One Shots. We cover Superman by Joshua Williamson, Batman the Brave and the Bold by Various, Wonder Woman by Tom King, Batman the Brave Batman Long Halloween, Last Halloween. I usually flip-flop Wonder Woman, Brave and the Bold, whatever. Anyway, Batman the Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, Uncanny X-Men, and I cover X-Men by Jed McKay by myself, but also right now it's crossing over because of Grey Malkin, so it's a whole thing. Comics are weird. We also have RTBD, me and my brother's Star Wars show that comes out about once a month. The format's going to change soon. We're gonna fix some things up. It's going to be fun. So check that all out. I think we actually had, I don't know if I did. Maybe recently an episode came out. It might be there. It's recorded at the time of recording this, but I don't know if I've edited it yet at the time of this coming out. So we're
recording this in advance to avoid the holiday rush.
Time does not exist. Anyway, I think that about does it. Also, wherever you're listening to us on, be sure to leave a rating and subscribe. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you're listening to us on. Be sure to leave a rating, subscribe to us wherever you're listening to us. You can comment on Spotify. Apparently, that's a thing that you can do, so you can do that over there.
Also, comment on YouTube if you haven't.
Comment on YouTube and subscribe to the channel, Blood Donut Studios, that we use to produce this podcast and other things that I just promoted a lot of. Also, our link trees, as always, will be in the description below. You can follow us wherever you want to follow us. Blue Sky, anywhere else, but mostly Blue Sky. Also, I will leave Amazon links to the books we cover today and are covering next time on the podcast. A bunch of Suicide Squad things, so check those out there. There was something else I had to bring up, and I can't remember what now. Nope, that's it. All right, cool. If there's something else, fuck it. All right, thank you all so much for listening. Until next time, this has been Joey Morgan
and Jacob Licklider.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hello and welcome to Fresh Face. What's the name? God, we do too many different things. Fuck. Hang on.
You're gonna take that again.
I'm gonna try it again. I was like,
include this after the end credits as a blooper.
Something. Yeah, it's something. Okay, try it again.
Go ahead, buddy.
Hello and welcome to. I'm laughing now. Fuck.
Do you want me to take it?
No. I got this. No, shush. I got this.
All right. If you don't get it right this third time, I'm taking it. Okay.
All right. Shut up and let me focus. All right. Hello and welcome to Fresh Face Comics, the comic book. Okay, no, I got this. Hang on. Okay, one last try. I swear.
If you don't do this right, I'm taking the intro on this one.
One last try. I swear. Stop making me laugh. Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. 3, 2. Hello and welcome to Fresh Face Comics. Fuck. All right, you do it.
Okay.
Why can't I do this now?
Jesus. I don't know.